Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. It's Friday, February 13th. Oh, it's a Friday the 13th. 2026. We're very glad you're with us today. Please note this event is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Career USA YouTube channel to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2007, I took over facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. This group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007 when the prior leader landed a job. In 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those unemployed in the North Dallas, in the Dallas DFW area. In 2012, I launched careerusa.org to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon, or I always have copies with me. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team known as the PIT Crew. You'll hear more about them in just a few minutes. Our agenda this morning will start with success stories. Then we'll do our 30-second introductions with those here in the room, and then we'll do everybody who's online. If any job search people are with us, we'll share job leads, and then we'll hear from the Interview Success Workshop, the practice interview team, and the career tip of the week, and our main event about the top of the hour. Well, I like to start the meeting off with good news. Do we have any landings to report? Anybody in here? Anybody online? All right, well, we'll move on here. For everybody who's online, if you will, open up your chat window and please enter your name, the position you're looking for. Give us 2 or 3 target companies that you'd like to try to find. If you have connections at companies, please list those. Give us your email, your LinkedIn address if you'd like, your phone, and your city you're watching from. That would be great. So I'll put 30 seconds on the clock to get started. Right, if you're still typing, please continue to typing. And for everybody online, if you don't put your email address in the chat window, I won't know you're with us today, and I won't get you updated on the roster. All right, we want to do now is do 30-second introductions for everybody who's here in the room. So if you want, line up, grab the mic, and come on down. I have to turn it on though. Here we go.
Good morning. My name is Todd Haney. What am I saying here? I'm looking for a role in customer success and implementation. Right now, I don't have any target companies. I do have target companies or contacts with the Association for Talent Development and with various North Dallas independent school districts. My name is Todd Haney.
Thank you.
My name is Daniel Reisinger. I'm looking for jobs in either welding or manufacturing. Again, my name is Daniel Reisinger.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Rovira. I'm looking for management positions in learning and development or potentially a senior instructional designer role. I don't have any target companies this week, but I can help with contacts at Ernst & Young, Tenet Health, and Children's Health. And again, my name is Jennifer Rovira.
Great, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Chris Holmes. I am looking for senior manager or director level roles in IT portfolio management. I don't have any target companies this week, but I do have contacts at Southwest Airlines. My name is Chris Holmes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Phil Ilsner. I'm a PMP credentialed senior project manager with several years of experience in telecom as well as in healthcare. Philip Elsner.
Great. Thank you very much.
Morning, everyone. John Hamer, Senior Project Manager with extensive experience leading successful teams in the telecommunications and aerospace and defense industries. And I'm looking for positions either as a project manager or supporting logistics and supply chain or in supply chain itself. I can help with contacts at Verizon. My name is John Hamer.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Ellie Casanova. I'm document control specialist. I'm doing a lot of contract work. I'm hoping to find something more stable with any company. My last job was with Abbott Laboratories. I'm very unemployed, so I'm hoping to find some help. That's pretty much it.
All right. Thank you very much. Yep, perfect. All right, let's go to people online. If you will, please go and raise your hand. That way I know to call on you. Mary, I'll let you go first.
Oh, I didn't realize I was first. Okay, so I'm Mary Menser. I am looking for a position as director and above for professional services or project management organization in software in the ERP, HCM, CRM, pick an acronym space. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Marty.
Good morning. I'm Marty Upton. I'm the Director of IT and Cybersecurity, and I create and implement technology strategies that support and solve your business IT and security needs that might keep you up at night. I am Marty Upton. I am searching for Director of IT roles, primarily in the healthcare space. My target companies are Ensemble Healthcare and Dispatch Health, and I have contacts at Essen Healthcare, Heritage Health Solutions, and my name is Marty Upton.
Thank you. Steve.
Yeah, sorry, I assume that's me. So yeah, Steve Meeks. I am looking for jobs for senior procurement leader, either senior manager, director, or above. I have am still working on what my target companies are. I come from the semiconductor world, but I'm somewhat focused on high-end manufacturing, aerospace, pharmaceuticals, or personal electronics type of thing. Target companies could be Abbott, Raytheon, etc. And I'm connected at Texas Instruments and Wolfspeed. Steve Meeks is my name.
Thank you. Steve Rohan.
Yes, my name is Steve Rowan. I'm a retired .NET developer. I have contacts at Fiserv and VA. My name is Steve Rowan.
Thank you. Mike.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Belzil. I'm a data analytics product leader to help business leaders ring their performance bell by converting data into dollars. So I'm seeking a director of data products role based in the DFW area. So specifically looking for contacts at Toyota, Keurig Dr. Pepper, and Hershey. I have contacts at Walmart, Epsilon, and Circana. My name is Mike Belzil.
Thank you. Scott.
Good morning, everybody. Looking for a supply chain job specializing in inventory control or production planning. I'm located in central New Jersey, so I'm looking for central Jersey or remote. I don't have any target companies. My name is Scott Boudreau.
Scott, you didn't give us your tagline. I love his tagline. Okay, Sheldon.
Sorry, I'm having a brain fart right now. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Sheldon.
Thanks, Jeff. Good morning, everybody. I'm Sheldon Weinstein, Senior Sales and Business Development Leader in the consumer packaged goods, food and beverage industry. My background's in building and scaling growth by partnering closely with national and regional retailers across both large global manufacturers and entrepreneurs and privately held companies. I'm focused on director and above level roles at mid-sized companies in the $200 million to $2 billion range. And I turn alignment into execution and execution into growth. Again, I'm Sheldon Weinstein.
Thank you. Misra.
My name is Mirza Chuktai. I'm looking for a CEO role. My target company this week is Agilis Capital. I have contacts at Dell Technologies, Salesforce, and Aero Electronics. I'm Mirza Chuktai.
Thank you. Drew Puckett.
Hello, everyone. I'm Drew Puckett, and I'm currently seeking a marketing operations and/or data analytics role at probably a technology company, but I'm also interested in Toyota Financial Services. If anybody has contacts there, I can help with Intel. Again, my name is Drew Puckett.
Thank you. Miguel.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Miguel Castillo. I'm a divisional CFO for a large complex division within Fortune 100 companies. I'm looking for a VP or director in finance position in the DFW Metroplex, but open to relocation for the right role. Need contacts this week at Alaska Airlines and Toyota. And I have contacts at Amazon and American Airlines. My name is Miguel Castillo.
Thank you. Allie.
Hello, my name's Allie. I'm looking for any data analytic roles or any data management roles or business analyst roles. I'm looking for contacts in healthcare or in investment companies or finance companies. I have contacts at Gainwell, MetroCare, and that's about it.
And you are?
And my name's Allie.
Thank you. Florence.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Florence Hogan, and I build insights and strategy programs from the ground up and deliver actionable market insights, market intelligence, and competitive intelligence for strategic planning. This week, I'm targeting HKS, Savillis, that's spelled Savillis, and then also JP Morgan Chase. Again, my name is Florence Hogan.
Thank you. Rosina.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosina Gallman, and I'm your Career Tip of the Week host, so I'll be back shortly. I'm looking for a position as a Senior Talent Acquisition Business Partner or Senior Recruiter position, and I need contacts at Gartner. So if any of you have interviewed with Gartner and have a recruiter contact, I would greatly appreciate it. And I have contacts at a variety of different places, so as we connect, you can take a look and see who I may be able to help introduce you to. Again, my name is Rosina Gallman, Senior Talent Acquisition Business Partner or Senior Recruiter position. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Nikki. Nikki Duncan.
Good morning. I am Nikki Duncan, a fractional chief of staff. I've actually started my own company doing fractional chief of staff support. I bring calm, clarity, and follow through to small businesses when things are chaotic and falling apart. I am looking for small business owners who need my services. I am Nikki Duncan.
Great. Thank you very much. Anybody else online who I didn't call on? Okay, some of y'all are just hiding out there. All right, we'll go on. There's no job leads. It's time for the interview success workshop as Walt is busily cooking things up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Walt Glass, and I love to help people with their job selling skills. So when we're looking for an interview, we're looking for how can we differentiate ourselves from other candidates, right? We want to be seen as a positive differentiator, as the one that they want to choose to hire us. So how do we do that? Well, fundamentally, in selling ourselves, we need to say who we are, what we do, and how we can help. So the workshop, which is free, is going to help us learn exactly how to do that. So it's a very fundamental workshop. It is not a mock interview. Yes, you'll get an interview. We will cover the 12 basic categories of questions, and we'll look at strategies, structures, options, ideas as to how we might approach that category of question. So, every response is based on three elements: the question itself, who's asking, and where we are in the process. So I'd love to be able to tell you how to answer every question, but we can't do that. There are options and strategies that we can take, but we can't memorize the answer to all those questions, right? So look me up on LinkedIn. My Yahoo email address is on my banner. I'm out of breath because I've been getting this stuff ready for Jay today. But look at my email address is on my banner page. Send me a note, say, hey, Walt, I'd like to register for the workshop. I will send you a note back. I do it on Tuesdays from 9 to 11 Central. And it's all online on Zoom. So be glad to have you participate. You will get a video of your interview, and we'll give you some handouts. And I got an hour-long video that goes over everything in the handout. And that's because the people that have taken this course 25 years ago, the content is pretty much the same. These fundamental elements are still there. Even though the media and the way we do it is different, the content is still good. Be glad to have you participate. So come on down. Be glad to have you join us. I call it learning without squirming. So in order to win the interview, we know it's practice that rings true. So to get that job of our dreams, we can come and enjoy Krispy Kremes. I am Walt Glass.
All right. Walt and Krispy Kreme. Okay. Time to hear from the practice interview team. I guess I'll talk about it. Practice interview team meets every Wednesday from 1 to 3 o'clock right here in this room at Christ United Methodist Church at Coit and Parker in Plano. They meet in person on the first, second, third, and fifth Wednesdays of the month. The fourth Wednesday of the month, they're online only. That way, anybody around the country can watch a practice interview. They usually schedule 3 interviews every week. You're welcome to come and watch somebody else being interviewed. You will learn just as much by watching somebody else because you'll see really great things that they say, oh, I got to write that down. I like the way they said that, or, oh, I'll never say that in an interview. And you'll learn those kinds of things. The best thing about the practice interview team is you will get feedback. At the end of the interview, you'll get about 20 minutes of feedback from the 3 people who interview you. So you'll learn a lot and you'll be able to practice and be better and better at what you do. Don't wait until you actually have an interview scheduled. Practice early, practice often. You can practice more than once, get on the schedule. But this is the way, this is probably the best thing to do to practice your interviewing skills. All right, time to hear for the career tip of the week. Good morning, Rosina, again.
Good morning, Jeff, and good morning, everyone. Happy Friday the 13th. All right, give me just a minute. And before I go on, at the end of my introduction, what I also should have said is this week I'm also working on changing up my marketing materials and branding materials as a recruiter. So if you guys haven't done a speakwithterry.com session with him, that is a great, invaluable 15-minute call. So I'm just saying, he looks at things from a different set of eyes when he talks to you for that 15 minutes. And I mean, you walk away with tons of great information and edits and insights to your materials as you have them posted. So I highly recommend speakwithterry.com. Okay.
That happens to be Terry Sullivan, and he'll be our LinkedIn speaker in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Sorry about that. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, so this week's career tip of the week is Job Search Trends 2026, the new playbook for how top leaders land roles faster. And this article is by Resume Pilots. All right, so career strategies for 2026 that go beyond mass applications, showing how credibility, networking, and positioning help job seekers stand out in a competitive market. Again, job search trends for 2026, the new playbook for how top leaders land roles faster. In the wake of the hiring shifts explored yesterday, job searching in 2026 has become a strategic exercise in visibility, positioning, and adaptability. Traditional methods, mass applications, recruiter outreach lists, or spray and pray resume submissions have given way to a smarter, faster system that blends human relationships, data signals, and personal brand equity. As Zoe Price, who's the CEO of Resume Pilot, explains, in 2026, your resume doesn't just need to be found, it needs to be believed. Credibility is now the currency of opportunity. So below, we will answer the most frequently asked questions about job search trends in 2026, drawing on current global research, excuse me, and expert commentary to help you focus your energy where it counts. So the first FAQ, is applying online still effective in 2026? Online applications still matter, but they're now the slowest and least reliable route to success. They should no longer be viewed as the front end of the process. So that data is from LinkedIn's Jobs on the Rise 2026 report. It showed that only 17% of hires come directly from online applications, while over 70% involve a referral, a recruiter, or prior connection. AI-driven applicant tracking systems filter out up to 60% of resumes for missing context, such as keywords or measurable outcomes. And that's according to Harvard Business Review 2025. And then your online profile must therefore be ATS friendly, metrics driven, and human readable. So when it does reach decision makers, it earns trust fast. So the strategic question that you want to ask yourself is, if my resume landed in an AI filter today, would it show impact and replicability or just activity and experience? So FAQ number 2, what channels are delivering results, real results for job seekers right now? The most effective approaches combine visibility, credibility, and proximity. So referrals and networks, direct outreach, recruiter partnerships, and portfolio profiles. Those are the direct channels. So referrals and networks. Internal referrals still outperform all other channels, delivering 4 times the success rate of blind applications. And that's according to JobVite Recruiter Nation 2025. Direct outreach, targeted communication with hiring managers or potential peers is rising, supported by concise, personalized value statements. Recruiter partnerships, executive search firms now access LinkedIn's activity signals, published insights, and thought leadership content to source candidates. And then portfolio profiles. Job seekers are building microsites or proof files showcasing quantifiable results, media mentions, and leadership stories used both on gig economy platforms and personal websites. So the strategic question that you want to ask yourself is, am I visible in these spaces where the next opportunity is already being discussed? Or am I waiting for it to be advertised? FAQ number 3, how are candidates using AI to accelerate their search? AI is now a partner tool, not a shortcut. Job seekers use AI to summarize achievements, draft outreach messages, and analyze job descriptions for alignment, but the best results come when human judgment refines AI output. Tools like LinkedIn's collaborative articles and ChatGPT prompts or prompt libraries are helping candidate build topical visibility, and establish thought leader presence. Over over automation, however, erodes authenticity. Employers now use behavioral analytics to flag generic AI generated content, and recruiters can spot AI written resumes instantly. So, as with all things and all tools, use AI wisely. And the strategic question you want to ask yourself is AI amplifying my credibility or diluting it? FAQ number 4. What are the biggest mistakes candidates still make? Well, over applying, underselling, neglecting LinkedIn, and ignoring networks. So for over applying, quantity never beats quality. Focused applications outperform the volume every time. Underselling, many executives fail to quantify outcomes, assuming reputation speaks for itself, and it doesn't. And neglecting LinkedIn, outdated or passive profiles amplify stagnation. And then ignoring networks. Relationships decay without contact. Consistent engagement outperforms crisis networking. So the strategic question you want to ask yourself is, would someone scanning my profile instantly understand how I create value, or would they have to guess? And then last, FAQ number 5, how long is the typical job search taking in 2026? Timelines will lengthen or have lengthened slightly as hiring becomes more deliberate. For senior roles, average time to hire is now 8 to 12 weeks, with executive searches averaging about 4 months. And that's according to Korn Ferry 2025 Executive Outlook. Yet candidates with clear positioning and narrative often receive offers within 30 days, mirroring Resume Pilot's data showing a 78% increase or interview success rate within 1 month. The variable, clarity. Those who lead with evidence and relevance move faster than those who lead with history. And then leveraging all 6 career strategy levers accelerates results further, especially in a market where permanent roles are becoming the exception, not the norm. And those who think creatively about how they add value stay in demand. So the strategic question to ask yourself, am I presenting myself as a ready solution or a resume waiting to be interpreted? Key takeaways from this article are in 2026, the most successful job seekers aren't simply applying, they are curating evidence, nurturing visibility, and leveraging networks with intent. The new game is strategic self-management, understanding the market, positioning your value, and delivering a clear narrative of replicable results. So your next career move deserves more than just hope. It deserves a strategy. And let me just say, please note when you read this article, there are waves of advertisements and enticements throughout the article. Just please note that all the advertisements contained within this article, please know that this is not an endorsement by Career DFW. We are just simply providing the information as a resource for your job search toolkit. So if you choose to utilize any of these services that are offered in this article from Resume Pilots, just know that from the article vendors that I read every week, we are presenting those, like I said, as a part of your job search toolkit and education. If you choose to utilize those services, they're fully at your own discretion. Again, this week's career tip of the week is job search trends for 2026, the new playbook for how top leaders land roles faster. Have a great Friday, everybody.
Thank you, Rosina. All right, today for lunch, come join us at Jason's Deli, 4801 West Parker Road, and on the northeast corner of Parker and Preston. We'll be there at 11:45 for lunch, so come join us if you can. If you want to receive today's materials, you'll get a link to the YouTube video when it gets uploaded tomorrow. You'll get a copy of the career tip of the week that Rosina just read. You'll get a copy of the Zoom chat. To make sure you get it for everybody who's here, make sure you check your name off on the roster. If you're new, fill out the little white slip of paper. If it's legible, I will get you added to the list. For everybody online, please make sure you've got if nothing else, please put in your email address in the chat window so that way I can count you as being part of today's presentation or part of today's meeting, and you'll get a copy of all that information. Here are the people that I'm missing that I do not know who they are, because if I looked up on their LinkedIn address and looked them up on LinkedIn, they've got no email or phone number. So apparently they're looking for a job, but they're not trying to be found. So if you're on the list here, please let me know so I can update that list. All right, today our speaker is Jay Arbetter. I've known Jay for probably 10 years, 12 years, something like that. It's been a while. And he's going to talk about networking the old fashioned way. And I'll let Jay introduce himself and tell you what he does for real life.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to meet y'all. I'm a financial advisor with UBS, been there for 12 years, Merrill Lynch 28 years, so 40 years in the business. So it's been a long time. And what I'm going to talk to y'all today about is networking to land your dream job, right? And if you think about it, right, trying to get a job is one thing. Trying to get your dream job is another answer. And 80% of the best jobs in America are gotten from someone that you know. And professional networking doesn't come natural. I had to learn it. I've learned it over 40 years, and I'm going to pass that life skill on to everybody I can, because it's probably the least talked about thing out there is how to professionally network. Professionally network is an art, and it's designed to help you build ambassadors and advocates. There's a myth out there that basically says it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I say it's a myth because it doesn't matter if you know the right people if they have no interest in helping you. So you have to learn to build ambassadors and advocates that want to help you. And learning how to do that is a life skill that I've had to learn. So let's go back 40 years when I started in the business. In 1986, we didn't have cell phones. There were only landlines, right? And there was no caller ID. So the way we were taught to grow a business, because I just moved to Dallas, I didn't know anyone, was to get on the phone and make 100 phone calls a day. And they gave us a list of people to call over 60 that lived in the Dallas area, and you called 100 people and they didn't know who was calling, and they sat by their phone and they picked it up. And as soon as you say you're a financial advisor and I'd love to talk to you about your money, hang up, right? So you make 100 phone calls and 98 people tell you no thank you. 2 people will tell you, I've got something come up in 6 months, call me then. Right? I've got a CD, I've got this, I've got liquidity, whatever. I'm tied up right now. And you make these 100 calls a day. And if you make 1,000 calls, you get to talk to roughly 10 people about their money. And of the 10 people you talk to, one of them will give you a chance with a $2,000 IRA to see how you do. So the attrition rate when I started in the financial advisory business was like 98%. Most people can't make 1,000 calls a day, 5 days a week, 4 weeks a month, 12 months a year, year after year after year after year, and starve, right? And so I'm more determined than most people, I think. And more importantly is I had a guy sitting next to me who had been reasonably successful, and he said to me, Jay, I have to tell you something. You're the world's worst cold caller I have ever seen. You will never make it in this business. You have no chance, right? None, zero. So what you need to do is you need to go to a community college and take a course in diction. because when you're on the phone, all they hear is your voice. They don't see you. So I went to a community college in town, and A is for Arbetter, and my whole life I've been cursed with the first row, with the first seat in every class I've ever been in, because they set you alphabetically. So the lady called on me first, and she said, everybody has marbles in their seat. What I want you to do, Mr. Arbetter, is put 4 marbles in your mouth and read the passage on your desk. So I said, okay. So I put 4 marbles. Now take 1 marble out and do it again. And do it again. And when you've lost all your marbles, then you can be a financial advisor, right? So that's kind of how it went. And I have become successful. I'm part of a team of 16 at UBS. We manage $1.8 billion. And I didn't build this whole big business cold calling, I can promise you. And what I learned to do early in my career was professional networking in order to put myself in this community, meet the right people, build advocates and ambassadors, and I built myself a beautiful career. So that's what I'm going to teach you today. All right? Because I'm going to work with you all today and give you the basics of how to change your life, how to get back in the workforce, how to build a network, how to build advocates, and we're going to do all that in an hour and whatever. So it's going to be fun. And early in my career, I met a lady, and I have a book on Amazon called The Power Networking Strategy, The Personal Approach to Landing Your Dream Job. And it's going to have everything I'm going to talk about today, plus more, because I don't have enough time to cover everything, but I'm going to cover the most important things. All right, and I met a lady who's in my book named Sarah, and Sarah was 60-something years old, and she had raised 4 kids, and now she wanted to start a business, and they didn't have any money because they spent it all on their kids, going to college and daycare and everything else, but she wanted to start a business, and she had an idea. And she took it to the banks. She finally got it approved. She got it financed. She built the business, and when I met her, she was doing $8 million in sales, 65 years old, right? 5 years later. So I sat down with Sarah, and I said, Sarah, I have 3 degrees, economics, finance, and accounting from University of North Texas. It was called North Texas State University at the time. But they never taught us in any of my classes how to start a business from zero at 60 years old with no money, right? And build a business to make as much money as you're making today. What business classes did you take that I didn't take? And she said to me, Jay, I never went to a business school in my life. She said, my degree was in acting, and that's why I'm so successful. So I said, I get it. Tell me why acting makes you so successful in your business. And what she taught me is critical to professional networking, right? And this is the building block of the most important thing I can teach you today, right? And what she said to me is, when you're in public, you're on stage. You're always on stage. Everybody's watching what you do. They're paying attention to your attitude. They're paying attention to your enthusiasm. They're paying attention to your negativity. Every time you meet somebody, you wear what you want on your sleeve, not what somebody else makes you wear. And you get to be in control of that. And as an actress, I learned no matter how many times I've been rejected and many banks turned me down and how bad everybody told me my idea was going to be, I learned to put my best foot forward when I walked out of that house and be on stage and let people know I was enthusiastic, I was positive, I was confident, even if I didn't feel it. We have to be our best selves at all times. And if you let the negativity carry you forward from what happened yesterday, you're not your best self, and you don't build that kind of rapport with people, it kind of pushes them away. Negative people and negative attitudes and complaining and whining pushes people away. Positive, excitement, enthusiasm, what you want to achieve, your self-confidence, that brings people towards you. And when you want to build a business, like I did, or you want to get a job, right, you never want to complain about anything to anybody, because that pushes them away. Keep your complaints to your family, whoever you want to talk to, but publicly, you're on stage. And there's a reverend in Frisco that said it a little differently, and I'm only going to read to you twice today. I apologize, but these are important. And the rest of the time I won't read, but I want to read this to you. And this is by a reverend, and he said it pretty well, right? He said, the longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on my life. Let me shut my phone off here. I'm sorry. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It's more important than the past. It's more important than my education. It's more important than my money. It's more important than my successes. It's more important than my failures. It's more important than the gifts and the skills that I've been born with or God gave me. The truth is, attitude will make or break a church. It'll make or break a family. It'll make or break a business. No question about it. Then he said, the remarkable thing is, and this is the most important thing Sarah taught me, is we have the choice every day regarding of what attitude we're going to take out into the world. No one makes us have an attitude. We get to choose it. We get to choose the attitude that we will embrace for that day. We can't change our past. We cannot change the things that happen to us that are positive or negative, right? The only thing we get to control, and the one thing we get to control, and that is our attitude. And then he says, and he's absolutely right, and Sarah taught me this early in my career, I'm convinced that life is 10% what happened to me and 90% how I react to it. And we get to choose that. Nobody else. And that's so important for professional networking, for building community relations, for building ambassadors, and for building advocates. So I'm going to ask you all to help me out right now, all right? Because I give these workshops, so to speak, all over the city. I give it on Zoom. I give it to different churches, and I pretty much get the same answers. But I think it's important that we discuss this, right? And I want to hear everybody's opinion, because if you're feeling this, I promise you somebody else is, and I will repeat what you say online so those people that are online can hear what it is you're telling me, right? So what I would like people in this room to do is to tell me what would make it uncomfortable for you to let people know you're out of work, to ask for help, to build those relationships, and professionally network to land your dream job. And there's a lot of barriers to this, and I've heard them all, at least I think I have, but I would love to hear how y'all feel. So does anybody have any thoughts about what would be uncomfortable for you to network? Any ideas? Any thoughts? Go ahead. And that's very true. I mean, people are embarrassed. And what he said is, I really don't like people to know I'm out of work because I'm afraid people will judge me or think less of me. And we're a little bit embarrassed. We've been laid off, and we don't feel good about ourselves anyway. So we don't really want to tell everybody in the world that we've been laid off and we're looking for a job. So I get that a lot. And that really is an emotional barrier that keeps people from wanting to reach out. And when they do, they don't really know how to say it. So it's a positive. It sounds like a negative, and they don't want to come across that way. So they just don't say anything to anybody. I need some other ideas. Go ahead.
Almost feels like you're beating on others.
And I love this, right? So what he said is that we should be self-sufficient, right? It's up to us to get a job. It's not up to anybody else to help us get a job. That's not their responsibility. And so we have to do this on our own. And before we go on, I want to address that. Okay, it's in my book specifically to address that comment, right? And the question I have for everybody here, everybody online, everybody in the world, right? If you're looking for a job, the one thing you have to put on your resume is I work well in teams, right? Everybody has to put that, because if you don't work well in teams, nobody's going to hire you, right? So the question is, if we train ourselves to work well in teams, why have we decided that we have to do this on our own? That we can't build a team around us and make this happen? So I thought a lot about that, right? And I came up to my own answer, and that is that when we're in school, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. If you're looking at your neighbor's exam, you're cheating. If somebody's helping you get the answer, you're cheating, right? You're supposed to do this on your own, right? You're supposed to study on your own. You're supposed to do your paper on your own. You're supposed to, take your test on your own. And if anybody's helping you, you're cheating. Well, we've been taught that all the way through school, right? But when we get in the workforce, we're not supposed to work on our own. We're supposed to work as a team and collaborate, right? They've taught us all the wrong things in school for the real world, and we internalize that as to how we're supposed to look for a job too, right? And it's a barrier to professional networking that we have to talk about today. So I really appreciate that comment. Go ahead.
Hi, Jay. This is Walt. Now, I've thought about this several times. When people help us, they feel good.
Okay,
They
I love
feel
that.
good about helping us. We are making a mistake by not letting them help us.
You're 100% correct. 100%. And we'll be talking a lot about that today. Any other thoughts of barriers for what would make you uncomfortable? Go ahead.
Hi, Jay. My
Hi.
name's Deborah Christopherson.
Hi, Deborah.
I think the word vulnerability, I can't even say it. Vulnerability kind of goes with what everyone else has said too. But
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're hurt emotionally, right? We're vulnerable anyway for negativity, and if somebody says something mean to you, it just crushes you more. If somebody rejects you because they don't want to help you, then you feel rejected even more than you did before. So you're vulnerable and you're sensitive, and it's more protective to just pull into a shell and do it on your own than it is to expose yourself and see what's going to happen. So these are all real feelings that I get on a regular basis, and I appreciate that, Deborah. Thank you. And Deborah's, very clear. When you're out there looking for a job and you've been laid off, I mean, your feelings are hurt already, and you're trying to overcome that as best you can, and you don't want to get hurt more. So you're pretty vulnerable. Go ahead. Anybody else? So go ahead. So there's a lot of reasons, right? But the problem is if we don't network and we don't stick our neck out, right, then we lose the 80% of the best jobs in America that we're trying to get, and we're trying to get back in the workforce. So I thought a lot about this, right? And the way I envision it, I hope I'm not boring y'all. Are we okay? So I thought a lot about this, and the way I envision it, and I'm pretty animated, I apologize. But the way I envision it is there's a room, and the room has a locker in it. And the locker, and you put the amount of money in there you want, 100 million, 200 million, $1 billion, I don't care. Put a number in there that would make you like over the top, right? And there's 20 people in the room, and one of them has the key to opening that locker. And you have to ask all 20, right? And then you have to accept the fact that they're all going to think you're desperate for the money. You have to accept the fact that some of them are going to tell you, I don't have it. Some of them are going to tell you you're greedy. They're going to be mean about it, right? Some of them are just going to pass you off. But one person has that key, and when you ask that person, you're going to open that locker, it's going to be yours, all right? Now, I have to ask you a question. For me, I wouldn't care what they say or how they feel. If somebody has that key and I can get that locker open, I'm going to ask them all, right? Who in this room would say, well, you know what? I should have earned the money on my own, right? It's not up to anybody else to give me that money in the locker. Or, somebody's going to be mean to me and say I'm a jerk for wanting to open that locker, right? Or, I don't have any money, so I don't want anybody to know I don't have any money, so I'm just going to pass it off, right? I can submit that every one of you out there that's listening to me and every one of you in this room would say, I don't care, right? I'm going to get that key and I'm open that locker. Are we all on the same page, right? And I'm going to tell you in my own little brain, to me, there's no difference between asking 20 people that you don't know in a room if they have that key than meeting a perfectly good stranger and saying, I'm looking for a professional job. I wonder if you know anybody. Because the key that they give you is more valuable than the money in that locker. Because if you're gainfully employed in something you love doing, in an environment you like being with, you feel more valued than any money will ever give you. So let's get you back in the workforce. But I'm not here to get you a job. I'm here to help you get your dream job, which you really can't get on your own just by sending out resumes on online and on websites who don't know you. So let's build it, right? So I'm going to show you how to do that because I learned how to build a business, right, from nothing with this same strategy. And so we're going to start. Y'all ready? So, what is networking, right? This is the second time I want to read to you. And this last time, I promise. Networking is a noun, and we have to define it, right? So networking is a supportive system of sharing information and services among individuals and groups having a common interest. And I'm going to tell you right now, the second building block for professional networking is sharing information with people that have a common interest. If they don't have a common interest and a common passion and a commonality with you, they will never be an ambassador for you, and they will never be an advocate. There is no connection. There has to be common interest and connection to have a professional networking environment. Number one, that's the noun. For the verb, is to cultivate people who can be helpful to one professionally, especially in finding employment or moving to a higher position. So we have to find the right people. Then we have to cultivate the relationship to make them an ambassador or an advocate. And I'm going to teach you how to do all that today. All right? So if we think about all the people in this country and all the people that we know and all the people we don't know, there's one subset of people that are the world's best networkers on this planet. It's not me, right? There is a subset, and they have the most natural networking ability of any subset group on this planet. And I know nobody will figure it out, so I'll just tell you, right? New mothers. When you get new mothers in a room together, right, all they want to do is share information. Tell me about your pediatrician. Tell me where you do your daycare. Tell me this. Tell me that. You know, where do you get this? Where do you get that? And they bond. And literally, my wife's best friends today are still the women that she met in play groups, right? When our daughters were little. And my kids' best friends today are still the kids she went to school with first, second, third, fourth grade. So when you're young, you have new parents and new mothers, they have a natural bonding commonality. And it's a big passion, right? They're children and they're babies. And that brings people together. So the easiest way to build relationships with people is to find people that have the same common passion and interest that you have. If they don't, you can't network with them. There's nothing to join you together. So we have to go find ways to meet people that have the same passions, interests, and hobbies that we do. So I'm going to ask you to think about this on your own and write down what it is you love to do, right? And then we'll get into that more later as to how we use that to meet the right people and to build ambassadors and advocates. So let's go further down my career, because as I learned to do this and I learned to join communities and learned to join boards and learned to join things, cold calling became less and less important, and meeting people that had the same passion and interest. And I served on committees and volunteered and met people and built my business, right? But I was pretty early in my career, and a guy came in, and he wanted to help us go to the next level. He was a trainer. And he brought us in the room, and I'll never forget it. And there were like 6 or 7 of us that had been there like 2 or 3 years. We were still struggling to get a business going, but we were not dead either. And he said, I want to help you guys become eminently successful the rest of your careers, where you'll never look back and you'll be more successful than you ever dreamed, and I'm going to help you do that today. So what I want to ask each one of you is, you already have clients that are working with you. Why are your clients picking you? Why would somebody do business with you, right? You need to know that if you're going to grow your business and you're going to attract more people and you're going to have people that want to refer you. Why are they doing business with you? Well, maybe it's because you get them better returns at 3 years in the business, right, than any other financial advisor at Merrill Lynch, and there were 20,000 of them, and everybody at Payne Weber, and everybody at Morgan Stanley, and I don't think you're that good. So why are they doing business with you? Well, it's because you're honest. Well, are you the only honest financial advisor of all 20,000 at Merrill Lynch, Payne Weber, Smith Barney? I doubt it, right? Well, maybe it's because you're charming and friendly. Well, you're the only charming and friendly financial advisor in the entire city of Dallas? I doubt it. So why are people doing business with you, right? Well, it's because they like you, right? Well, you're the only person that they could like in all the city of Dallas? I doubt it. We've got to have an answer as to why people are doing business with you. And you need to have this answer. Why would somebody hire you? Why would somebody be your ambassador? Why would somebody be your advocate, right? We need an answer for that. And what he told me changed my career. And what I'm going to tell you today is going to change your life. And it's not written in any book in America. They don't teach this. I've never seen it. So I wrote my own book so that everybody has what it takes to be successful. And the answer was not that they like you. The answer was that you like them. Because if people perceive you care about them and you like them and they're important to you, then they will do anything for you in the planet that you can get done. If they don't perceive that, they have no reason to help you. So what he told me is you have to go back to your desk now and you have to call your best clients that you have and tell them, right, how much you care about them and how important they are to you and how much you admire them. So I said, okay. So I went back to my desk and I called the doctor. True story, I'll never forget it. And I said, doctor, you're an amazing human being. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, you've expressed to me that you're an OB-GYN and you see 25, 30 people a day in the office. And then back then we didn't have cell phones, so they had pagers. So at 3 in the morning, he gets paged and he has to go to the hospital and deliver a baby. And he does this 4 or 5 days a week. And then he's up at 7 o'clock in the morning, sees patients all day, and he's on call Saturdays and Sundays and delivering babies. I said, there's no way, doctor, that I could get as little sleep as you do and be in as good mood you are all the time. You're an amazing human being. And I'm so impressed because every time we talk, you're like on top of the world. You feel great. I don't know how you do it. And I said to him what the other guy told me to say, which was really corny, but it worked. And I said, if all my clients were like you, I would feel like I died and went to heaven. That's what he told me to say. I said it, right? I'm no dummy. I'll learn. So he said to me, I'll never forget it, you really feel that way? And I said, doctor, I'm so sorry I haven't told you before, but I wouldn't have picked up the phone and called you if I didn't feel that way. He said, could you do me a favor? And I said, sure. He said, I've got $150,000 with you, right, that you've invested for me. But my grandfather left me $2 million of bonds, which I don't have time to watch anymore at Fidelity. Would you do me a favor and watch those bonds for me? Can I send them to you? No, I don't want them, right? That was a life-changing relationship statement. He was my client until he died. I currently take care of his wife. I currently take care of his son, right? I have many clients now that I'm taking care of their grandkids because every one of my clients knows I care about them, they're important to me, I admire them, or they're not my client. And I make sure for the last 40 years, I tell all my clients on a regular basis how cool they are. And if I don't believe it, they're not my client. And I have incredible people that I love to take care of, that I love to sit down with, that I really admire, and I have an incredible life. But that's because of that one guy that sat in that room and changed my attitude. So I'm going to tell you right now, right? The people in your life that you're close to, it's life-changing in the relationship when you tell them that. And tell it to them often. And if you have people in your network that we're going to get to today, that's how you build the relationship. So what have we learned about that, right? We learned it's not about you, it's about them. It's not about your feelings, it's about their feelings. And what did I ask you to start out with? How do I feel? Well, I feel embarrassed, I feel vulnerable, this and that and the other. These are all your feelings. Nobody else knows how you're feeling. And honestly, they don't care. What they want to know is how are they feeling? And how do you feel about them? And if we change the dynamic from about us to about them, then we no longer are embarrassed. We're no longer vulnerable. We no longer feel negative. What we want to do is get to know somebody really well, show them how important they are to us and how much we care about them. And then it becomes a fun relationship because it's not about our insecurities anymore. They don't count. Okay? And that changed my life and allowed me to be much more personable, be a lot more out there, meet people on their own terms, get to know them personally, find out what it is they're all about, what I could admire about them, and let them know. And that's how we build ambassadors, right? That's how we build advocates. And that's how we build networks. So we talked a little bit about common interest, right? And then, is it Walt? Walt said something that I'm going to impress on you more than anything else, and I really appreciate it, Walt, because this is what happened to me. One of my passions is I love to bike ride. And I was a member of the Plano Bike Association for a long time. We had 3,000 members. I learned to be a tremendous team rider with groups, and I learned to be a ride leader, and then I learned to be a ride leader instructor for the Plano Bike Association. And a friend of mine, Dale, called me one day and said, Jay, let's go ride the MS 150 in 2 weeks. And I said, Dale, what is the MS 150? And he said, well, we raise money, which we don't have time to do, so we have to write a check, right? Number one. Number two is on Saturday, we'll ride 75 miles, and on Sunday, we'll ride 65. And I said, Dale, have you fallen off a rock somewhere? I said, we've never ridden more than 50 miles in one day in our lives, and we have 2 weeks to train. It ain't going to happen. And Dale said, if we're in good enough shape to ride 50 miles on Saturday and 50 miles on Tuesday when we go out and 100 miles a week, it's just the same thing. It's just longer that day. We'll have no problems. We got to go do this. Well, he talked me into it. So I went and got the packet, and I didn't know what I didn't know. And I knew the start time, and the start time was 7. So you have to get there at 6. You have to get up at 5. And because they want to check your helmet, they want to check your brakes, they want to make sure your bike is secure because you're riding with 3,000 other people. And if you're at risk, they're at risk, right? So you have to go through this line. So you have to get there early. So I woke up that morning, and I opened up the packet, and there was no shirt because they give you an MS 150 shirt, and they give you a number. So when you go through the deal, if you finish, they take a picture of you, and you got, when you finished and your time and everything. And there was no shirt in there, and I don't know what happened to it. So I had 2 choices that morning. One was I could turn on the lights, wake up my wife at 5:30 in the morning, which was never a good idea. I would pay for that dearly. The other one was to reach in my bike drawer and grab any shirt, put the number on it, and go. And that's what I did. So I get there, and there's like 3,000 people with an MS 150 shirt and other shirts, and I couldn't find one person I knew, and the gun went off. So I just followed the crowd, right? I didn't know 3 things that day. Number one, when you get past the 50-mile range, which we ride flat in Dallas, and you go west, it gets to be hilly. And I didn't train for hills at all, ever, right? Number 2, I didn't know it was going to be the hottest record on Monday, in May, in history at 111 degrees afternoon. From January through March, we didn't have any heat, right? So I wasn't prepared for that. And number 3, the wind came in from the west in the afternoon at about 18 miles an hour. And now I'm having to go to 111 degrees, up hills, against the wind, and I didn't know I was getting into that. So the first 50 miles was nothing. I started at 7. We got to the lunch place about 11:30, had a really nice lunch, everything. Y'all know what SAG vans are? Anybody? A SAG van is, in any major deal, they have vans that will come and pick you up on the side of the road when you can't make it and take you to the end, right? And they do this for everybody. Because if you get out there, you're stranded. You're exhausted, you're tired, you can't move. So the vans pick you up. So after lunch, I noticed, excuse me, that all these people, like 30 minutes, 20 minutes into it, are all sitting on the side of the road because of the heat and the wind and the hills, and they're already tired, and they just give up. I really don't give up. It's just not my nature. And they have a rest area every 10 miles. So I knew that if I got 10 miles, I could get rested, get water, get food, whatever. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm pretty sure they kept moving that rest area. Because, I mean, I just couldn't get there. My average speed's 16 miles an hour, and now I'm going 12. And then I'm going 6 up the hills, right? And then I'm fighting the wind and the heat. And I'm just getting slower and slower. So it normally would take me how much time to go? 10 miles? I wasn't going to get there. And finally, when I got there, I was so dead I couldn't move. I spent 30 minutes at the rest area getting water, getting food, calming down. And I said, I'm never going to make it to the next rest area. I'm going to stop every 3 miles, get water, get in the shade, whatever, because I'm going to finish today. And I did this until I got to someplace on the road where my hands, I couldn't even hold the handlebars. They were so cramped up. Or I couldn't feel my feet anymore. My side was devastatingly killing me. I was dehydrated. You couldn't drink enough water. I was overextended. I wasn't used to this. I wasn't trained for this. And it was the end of the road for me, or I was going to be in the hospital. So I stopped on the side of the road, got in the shade, and said, I'm done. I'm not going any further. And this guy, the cop pulls up on a motorcycle. And he said to me, are you okay? And I said, yes, I'm fine, but I'm not going. I can't make it. I'm waiting for the van. He said, young man, do you only know you're 5 miles from the finish line? I said, officer, true story, if the finish line was across the street, I couldn't get there. And I certainly couldn't move my bike over there. So I'm done. He said, do you need any medical assistance? I said, no, I just want to be left alone until the van gets here. He said, it could take an hour. Fine with me. I'm not moving, right? A little while later, this other guy on a bike stops, and he said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm waiting for the van. He said, don't you know? You're only 5 miles from the finish line. And I said, I know, but I ain't going there. So a little while later, maybe 25, I don't even know the time, this guy stops. And I swear he could have been a fullback on a football team. He probably weighed 240 pounds, was maybe 6'4", and how he got that big body on that little bike that far, I have no idea. But he pulled over and he stopped and he said, what's going on? And I said, I'm waiting for the van. He said, no, you're not. You're going to finish. You're only 5 miles from the end, and I'm going to get you there. So this is the last hill. I did this last year, and it's downhill all the way. And we're out of the wind because we turned left. So I'm going to draft you because y'all know what drafting is. He gets in front of you and the wind stops, right? So you don't feel any wind. And he's a big guy. I'm a little guy, so I knew I wasn't going to feel any wind. So I got behind him and we went up the hill really slow. We got to the top and then we're going down and we turn left and I pull up next to him. I'm feeling pretty good, going straight out of the wind. Been there 35, 40 minutes. And I said, what is your name? And I should have asked him for his last name because to this day I don't even know it. And he said, Fred. I said, Fred, I can't thank you for what you did for me. To Walt's point, right? People want to help you if they can, right? And I said to him, I can't thank you for what you did for me. He didn't have to do that. He said, I didn't do it for you. I said, okay. Why did you do that? He said, I did it for your shirt. Now, I don't even know what shirt I had on because it was 5:30 in the morning, and I just grabbed the shirt out of my drawer, and I never looked at it, right? So I said, what has my shirt got to do with this? He said, well, you obviously rode in a cancer survivor. This is a Coleman shirt, and my wife is a cancer survivor, and she's behind us, and she'll finish this race today. And anyone who supports cancer research in biking is never going to sit on the sideline in my watch. And I learned something that day, more than I ever learned before, and that was that people that have a common passion and a common interest with you will not let you sit on the side of the road and fail. They will make sure that they help you succeed. And to Walt's point, he's the kind of guy that gets great pleasure out of helping somebody else. We have to give them that opportunity. And if we don't network, we don't give them that opportunity. And if we don't network, we don't meet people like Fred, who really want to help people, make sure that they're successful when they don't even think they can be successful on their own. Okay? These kind of life lessons help me become so successful in my career. And these little life lessons that we all need to learn that they don't teach us in any school in America, ever, which they should be teaching us, right? So I do these seminars and I do these workshops for free because I've been so successful for the people behind me that have helped me along the way. So if I can help you along the way, that's my mission, all right? So let's talk about building that network. I'm sorry if I'm boring y'all to death. I apologize. Are we okay? Huh? You're so kind. Thank you. So everybody knows how to use an Excel spreadsheet, right? So now we're going to get into nuts and bolts about how to change your life in real time. So on your spreadsheet, on column A, you're going to write down every human being you know. 1 through whatever. Every human being. I don't care if it's a gardener, a CPA, a painter. I don't care. You don't know who they know, who their brother is, who their sister is, who their uncle is. You don't know who they know. Just because a guy's painting doesn't mean his father isn't CEO of a company. This is what he likes to do. Every person that you know, every doctor, every CPA, everyone you know. And it's going to be an exhaustive list. More than you think. And every day you wake up, I forgot that person. I forgot that person. I should have included that person. It's always going to be evolving, right? That's column A. Column B, what do I admire about them? If you can't think of anything that you like about them, don't call them. It isn't going to do you any good because you can't stand them anyway. And we're not about to be fake as being actors and actresses. We have to be real. And we have to be our best self. So you have to write down what you like about them because you're going to tell them. Because it's not about you, it's about them. Third column. What do I have in common with them? What's our common passion? What's our common interest? Do we both love the arts? Do we both like Habitat for Humanity? You know, do we go to the same church? You know, what do we have in common? What have we talked about that we both have in common? If you can't think of anything, don't call them. You've got to have a common passion and common interest. And what we're going to try to do here is to make our life efficient and fun instead of miserable and hard. And when you're calling people you have nothing in common with that you don't like, that's miserable and hard. When you're calling people you really like and you have a common interest, then it's fun and it's easy. All right? Third column. How do I reach them? What do I know about them? Do I know them on LinkedIn? Do I know them on Facebook? Do I know them on, do I have their email address? Do I have their cell phone number? How do I reach them? You have to write it down so that as you get into this process, things go easy and you're prepared and it's not just winging it every day. Because, and y'all don't know this, but when I was young, I was an internationally ranked chess player by the time I was 15. And what I learned was the best defense is a good offense. If you're always on the defense, you're going to lose. I'm going to teach y'all how to get on the offense. You're no longer going to wait around for something to happen to you. You're going to make it happen. So when we're prepared, then we can make things happen. Understand? Everybody agree? Right. So let's go make it happen, right? So on the next column, you're going to write down every way you know to reach them, right? This is how, and we don't do this like in the morning, I'm going to call 3 people, I'll write it down. Spend the time ahead of time getting prepared because professional networking is preparation and consistency, right? This is professional networking. This is professional life-changing stuff, right? So be prepared for this, make it part of your daily routine, and get ready to be successful. Write it all down. Next column. When do I want to contact this person? If you have 50 people on your list, you can't contact 50 people day one. If there's 5 people you want to call day one, because you still have other things you have to do, And you still have to go on websites. You still have to do everything you can along the way. You don't want to give up anything else. This is just one more tool to help you get where you want to go. Right? So organize your time and don't make yourself so miserable that it's not fun. So figure out how many people you want to contact that day and put down the dates for each person. So you know before you get up in the morning who you want to call that day. Get prepared for success. So now you've written down everybody you want to talk to. You've written down whether you like them or not, or what you like about them. You've written down what you have in common with them, and now you're writing down how to reach them, and now you're writing down when you want to talk to them. And be friendly to yourself. Don't drive yourself crazy. Make this fun. Make it work. Because if it's miserable for you, you won't do it. You just give up, right? So just make it fun. And then what's going to happen to you invariably, I can tell you right now, is you're going to call, Janet, or you're going to call Sam, and Sam's going to say, I haven't heard from you in a while, and I know you want to get together or have a catch up, but I'm really busy right now with 2 projects at work, and I've got this going on, and I can't talk to you right now. Can you call me in 3 weeks? Right? The next column, when do they want to be called? If you don't follow up, you're dead in the water because everybody's going to need follow-up. Nobody's going to be sitting around saying, I can't wait till Deborah calls me today to see what I'm doing, right? So you're gonna catch them by surprise. They're going to need a little time to organize their time. They may give you, if you're lucky, I'd love to get you on my calendar. Let's pick a day at a time. That probably won't happen. It'll be call me back in a few weeks and we'll figure it out, right? Let's talk about that scenario. All right. If you put down, I should call them the first week of March, and the first week of March goes by and you don't call them, you've told them they're not important to you. Because they told you you can call me the first week of March. And if you don't do that, you might as well never call them again. Because you've already told them subliminally, this is not important to me. When you call them the first week of March, it's the opposite effect. They said, call me the first week of March. They don't think you ever will, right? And when you call them the first week of March, all of a sudden it starts ringing the bell. She really wants to talk to me. Or he really wants to talk to me, right? Unfortunately, I'm still busy. Can you give me another 10 days or another 2 weeks? Write it down. And keep doing this with every single person until you start building the pipeline of meetings. And once you get that pipeline of meetings going, you'll have meetings like every day. And what do we do during that meeting? We get to know them better. We find out what they love. We find out what excites them. We let them know that we really have always enjoyed their company. And we've always admired them for this. It's all about them. And it builds that connection and that relationship and that bonding so that you build that ambassador and advocate relationship. Now, we all know, and Walt's right, there are people that would do anything they can to help you given the opportunity. There are other people that don't help anybody do anything, right? If they don't want to help you and they push you off, it's not about you, it's about them. And they're just not the kind of person that likes to help other people. Fortunately, most people that we're going to meet like to help other people. But if they come across that way, it's not a rejection of you. That's just how they are. Now, how did they get that way? They probably helped somebody, referred them into something, and the thing blew up, and they look bad, and they don't want to do it anymore. So it's a bad experience on their side, has nothing to do with you, right? So cross them off the list. Don't keep calling them back if you can tell up front they're just not interested when you meet them. Let it go. There's enough people on your list to be in touch with, to build relationships with, and look for that one person in the room that has the key that will open that locker for you. Because there is someone. I promise you. 80% of the best jobs in America are gotten through someone that you know. Somebody has that key. We just got to go find them. And we ain't going to find them standing outside the room while they're all in the room. Right? Got to get in the room. As my friends say, you can't catch a fish if your hook ain't in the water, right? Got to get in the water to catch this fish. We got to go ask them, right? So, and so we just keep doing that, right? Now, the last column is the most important column because we've got to switch from you're a nice guy and I love you to I need to get a job. How can you help me, right? We got to switch into that. And that last column is really important, but I'm not going to tell you what it is right now. I'm going to get there in a minute. That's the first section on your spreadsheet. The next section on your spreadsheet is all the things that you want to do in this community while you're unemployed, right? Do you want to serve on any committees, any nonprofit organizations in your church? What organizations are you have a passion about? What is your common interest? What is your passion that you can meet people with and build relationships that are new, that you don't know, right? Instead of sitting at home every single day watching TV, waiting for the phone to ring, you can actually be out there meeting new people and adding them to your list by volunteering and being a part of organizations. So write down your hobbies, write down your interests, write down what you would like to do, and go write down all the organizations that might be a candidate for that on your second section. And then pick 2 or 3. And then go there and meet those people and volunteer. Now let's talk about the easy way to do that. In every organization, how much time do I have? Good. In every, because we got a lot more to cover. In every organization, there's always a deal online that says for more information on this group, contact so-and-so, right? Call them first. Before you ever go to a meeting, before you ever volunteer, call them first. What do we know about that person, right? They're a leader. They like to help people. They're willing to give up their time to help this organization grow, right? They're the exact person you want to meet because they like helping people. So you call this person and you basically sit down with them. You know, I really want to join this committee. I want to join this board. I really want to give my time. I love the arts. I love this. I love that, like you do. And I want to volunteer my time and be a docent. Whatever it is you can do, meet this person because they love what you love, or you don't want to join the organization, right? So you have a common bond already. And then you obviously have to say, you know, I admire you because you got a full-time job and a family, and you're giving time for this. That's an incredible thing. I hope someday that I can give back and do that as well. It's an amazing thing you're doing. So now, first of all, you've met them. Second of all, you've got a common passion. Third, you already can tell them what you admire about them, right? And then lastly, and this is the most important thing, right? When I was growing my business, we had these guys come in and talk to us about how you ask for referrals, because our lifeblood is our clients referring us business, right? As you get better. Well, how do you do that? Well, first guy comes in and says, well, every one of your male clients probably plays golf or bowling on some league somewhere. Ask them for the 4 guys they golf with and tell them you'd like to call them. Well, you call your client, say, I'd like to talk to your 3 buddies. Well, I'll get their names and number and call you back. They never do. They don't want you harassing their friends, right? If they want to send you their friends, they'll do it. But they're not going to give you their numbers and say you can call their friends and say, I do all your business with your buddy Joe. Can I talk to you about your money? They don't want that. So that was a stupid idea, and it never worked. Another guy comes in and says, well, you know, that never works. So what we've learned is the way to ask referrals is to tell people that I've grown my business and I've got 2 or 3 openings for new clients this year. If you know someone that can refer me, I would appreciate that, right? Well, you know what? I don't remember Sam getting up in the morning and saying, how can I grow Jay's business, right? Let me figure out how I can help Jay grow his business. It's just people aren't there for that. They're there to get financial advice, to be taken care of, to be, you know, coddled and whatever. But they don't wake up in the morning and figure out how they can grow my business. So asking them for people that they might know to help fill those 3 slots never worked, right? They were stupid ideas. And I couldn't figure it out till I just put it all in perspective one day. And this was the way I changed it up. And this is what you have to do. All right. So when you're asking for a job and you want someone to help you, it is never about helping you. It has to be about helping them. Everything is about them. So how can we do that, right? And what I learned is that if I call a client and I say to them, you know what? You're an amazing guy. I love you. We've had a great relationship. I've made you a lot of money. We've done really well. And I said, you know what? It's up to you. But if there's somebody you really care about that you want to have the same service and the same experience that you have, and you want me to help them, I'm more than happy to. Right? If they're important to you, they'll be important to me. And that's up to you, right? They get off the phone, they think, who do I know? Right? Who should I take care of like I'm being taken care of? So now you're offering to help them, help somebody. You're not asking them to help you. That was life-changing, and my business went through the roof. And every day, when I sit down with a client and do a review, I let them know that they're very important to me, and anyone they know that they think should have the same service you're getting and the same quality relationship you have, if they're important to you, they'll be important to me because you're an amazing human being. Now, and I just tell them this, right? If you're sitting in a group and you meet somebody tomorrow and he says, I need a financial advisor, don't send them to me because they're just a stranger to you. I don't know them. You don't know them. I don't need them. I only want people that you care about that are important to you. And I'll take care of them like I take care of you. People want to figure out how I can help somebody else. When you're asking someone to help you find a job, it's the value that you bring to the table that allows somebody to help somebody. I can promise you, when an employer needs a candidate for a job, the first thing they do is go to all the employees and say, do y'all know anyone that's looking? Because I'd love a resume, before they ever put a job description out, right? So if you do this right with somebody you're talking to, and you let them know that I was laid off for whatever reason, and I'm eager to get back in the workforce, and this is how I can help another team and another company. If you know anyone that needs someone like me, right, you might be able to send my resume and help them because they're looking for an opportunity for someone just like me, and you can help them. We're helping them. They're not helping us. I can get a job anywhere. But if you know somebody that's really importantly looking that you care about, and you think that you can help them by filling that slot. And you're offering people the opportunity to help somebody they know who has been complaining, I'm short-staffed. I can't ever get this done, right? I can't find anybody. Well, God, I just met this lady. She was incredible. Let me make sure you and her talk. I can help you out. So we're always adding value to somebody else's life. It's all about them. So when you're sitting down with someone and you're having a great relationship and you're out of work and you want to join this committee and the art deal, and you're talking to the person about that organization, and then you say to them, you know what, I'm looking for an opportunity where I can add value, right? There's probably people in the organization that know someone that's looking and I can help them. Who should I talk to? Well, they know everybody in the organization. I'm going to go to one of your meetings, and if there's somebody I should be meeting, let me know. And they will introduce you, and all of a sudden you have credibility because the person that runs the organization is introducing you, and they've met you, and you've had a cup of coffee with them. So don't go to an organizational meeting without meeting the person that's in charge, getting to know them, building a relationship, and they will introduce you to the right people. We need advocates and ambassadors that are leaders that will take care of you. And we need to get on the offense and do that. Is this making any sense? Am I out in left field somewhere? Thanks. All right. So, the last section in your Excel spreadsheet is whatever profession you're in, there's professional organizations in this community that all meet. Go to those meetings because every one of them works in your profession in a company that may have an opening. You've got to go to those meetings, right? How many of y'all have elevator speeches? Right? Everybody? I hate them. What are elevator speeches about? You. What do people care about? Them. Right? So if you're talking to a CPA and you're an engineer and you build microchips and you've met a CPA and you want to get to know them and you tell them that I'm looking for a job and I build microchips and I've been doing it for 20 years, you know anybody that builds microchips looking for a job? No. Right? No, I don't know anybody. He doesn't. So it's a ridiculous conversation, right? So we don't want to get in the weeds. We just want to build relationships. Get to know them. Now, if you go to a professional organization and you build microchips and you're in a room of engineers, then you can talk about your skill level and what you do because they want to know before they start referring you to the right place. That's where you talk about yourself in depth. Because now you're talking to engineers, or you're talking to CPAs. If you're a CPA or if you're an attorney, you're talking to lawyers. They want to know your skill level, your experience. Let me get you to the right law firm. That's where you talk about yourself. Everywhere else, it's all about them. Last column. If you are an engineer and you build microchips and you sit down with a CPA or an attorney or a teacher or whatever other profession there is, and you start talking about the fact that this is what I do and I'd love a referral to a company, if you know anyone that's hiring these people, the answer will always be no. They're not connected in that industry. They don't know anybody in that industry, and they can't help you, even if they wanted to. So we can never go about it that way. Before you meet with someone, I don't care who it is, in that last column, you want to do your research at a time. Everything is preparation for success. You want to write down the 4 companies that are best suited for you to work for, that you really want in that. And you want to write them down on your spreadsheet. Because when you sit down with someone, it's not about what you do, it's who you know. And it's the value you add. So when you sit down with someone, your conversation is, I used to work for IBM. I was a team leader. I did this, I did that. If you know anybody at these 4 companies, I can step right in and add value and help them out. You know anybody at Motorola, anybody here, anybody there, name the 4 companies. They might know somebody at one of those companies, but they had no idea that that company had an engineering department that builds microchips like you. They'd have no clue. So it doesn't matter, right? It's who you know, not what you do. You can figure that out when you're doing the interview. You just want to be in the door from someone that refers you to someone that's important. They can make a decision, and they already trust that person, so they want to meet you. So you want to name the 4 companies or 5 companies that you've done the research on that you really want to work for. And every person you meet, do you know anyone in those 5 companies that needs someone because I can add value and I'm ready to go? I can help them out. I can help them out. I'm available. This is very important. I had an interview with a lady. How much more time? Okay. I had an interview with a lady, and she came in, and I had one of my partners with me, and we sat down, and I said, you sound pretty qualified for the job. Tell me about your last job. What happened there? She goes, it's none of your business. Exactly the words that came out of her mouth. It's none of your business. My partner got up and left, right? That was the end of that interview. And I sat down trying to figure out what was making her tick. They would say something like that because that's the kind of person I am, to get to know her, and it just went south from there. It got worse and worse. So she left, and she came highly referred from someone in my office that knew her between the kids and the mother and the soccer mom, and said, she's amazing. You got to sit down and talk to her. She's looking. So I did, and it went south really fast. So I couldn't understand it, right? And years later, I was telling a person this, and you go, you don't know what that was about? And I said, no. And they said, they have to go on so many interviews in order to collect their unemployment. And if they don't go on so many interviews, and she didn't want to go to work, she just had to schedule that she went on the interviews and mark it down, and she wasn't ready to go back to work. So she didn't want the job. She was afraid you might hire her. So she just wanted the unemployment checks to be home with her kids as long as she could. I said, okay, now I get it. But we all have experiences that are kind of off the wall sometimes, and that was one of mine. So in the process, in the process of building relationships, in the process of putting your best attitude forward, in the process of building advocates and ambassadors, right? There's a big difference between just knowing someone and cultivating it to be an ambassador and an advocate. And that's really what we're driving for. And when you come across 100% of the time as someone that wants to help somebody and get to know them and care about them and admire them, as Walt said, they're more than likely to feel good about helping you. And then I have people that say, well, I've done this for 30 years. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't know what I want to do, right? I'm not sure that I want to go back to that job, right? What do I do next? And is there anybody in this room that is in that transitional period where they don't know exactly what they want to do next? Or is everybody pretty comfortable? Go ahead. Tell me about you. What's your name? All right. We're talking to Daniel. Go ahead, Daniel. You went to school for welding.
Have a lot of different interests, and still not completely sure what I want to enter the workforce in.
And the 31 people or whoever is listening to me right now, I'm sure that this is an experience that we all feel, right? We've been doing what we're doing. We're not really passionate about it. We want to find something we're passionate about. How do we figure that out, right? And what I'm going to tell you is I did this at a Catholic church, and a lady stood up and said, I have exactly that problem, just like you, Daniel. And she said, I've always worked for a paycheck because I had to put the kids through school. My husband and I have always worked, and now they're 45 years old. My kids are out, and I don't have to work for a paycheck anymore. I want a job that I really love and I'm passionate about, and I don't know what to do. How do I figure that out, right? And what I said to her was, ask your friends what you're passionate about, what you talk about, what you're excited about, because your friends know you better than you do. And if you don't believe that, when you're dating the wrong person, everyone knows it but you, because they all know you. But we don't listen to our friends, and we still date the wrong person until it blows up and we're miserable, and then we should have listened to them to begin with, right? And so I said to her, ask your friends what it is you're most passionate about, because they will tell you what you should be doing, right? And I know that from personal experience. I started as a financial advisor when I was 33. I got my degrees in accounting, economic, and finance, and I started a couple of businesses that failed. I worked for a couple of accounting firms I hated, and I didn't know what to do. And my friend B.T. Williams says you ought to be a stockbroker. Now, you have to understand, in 1986, there was no such thing as financial advisors. We were stockbrokers. And we got paid a commission for recommending stocks and bonds. And if we didn't recommend something, we didn't get paid, period, right? You were stockbrokers. I said, I don't want to do that. And he said, Jay, but you'd be so good at it. You're great with people. You're great with numbers. You understand finance. People will trust you. You ought to be a stockbroker. I said, BT, I will never be a stockbroker. I hate it. He said, well, what are you doing right now? I said, nothing. How much money do you have? $3 grand. I think you ought to try it. You're broke and you're out of work and you've tried everything. You've been out of school for 12 years. You still don't know what you want to do. I'm telling you, you ought to be a stockbroker. I work at Merrill Lynch. Come interview. True story. Went in, Mike Crosley sitting across the desk. So you want to be a stockbroker? I said, no, I don't. But B.T. Williams thinks I should. He said, well, I don't want to hire anybody that doesn't even want the job. I said, okay, and I left. B.T. Williams goes in. Well, when's he going to start? Well, he doesn't want the job. He doesn't know what he wants. He's tried everything. I know him. He'd be a great stockbroker. Hire him. Bring him in here. He calls me back up. True story. Went back and said Mike Crosley. Said, B.T. Williams thinks you'd be a great stockbroker. He's anything else. I can't find anything I really want to do, so I'll try it. He said, I'll start you for $1,000 a month. You have to get all your licenses, and if you don't pass them, I have to let you go. I said, $1,000 a month? I can't even pay my rent for $1,000 a month. I'm not interested, and I left. BT comes in. When's he going to start? He's not interested. Well, you got to make him interested. Get him back in here. So the next Monday, Crosley calls me up and he says, I've never met anybody that believes in somebody so much in my life that doesn't want a job, and I can't pay you more than $1,000 a month. But BT Williams tells me I have to. And BT Williams was very successful Merrill Lynch broker. And he said, how much do you really need? And I said, $3,000 a month. There's no way I'm going to pay somebody that doesn't want the job more 3 times what I've ever paid anybody else. Not going to happen. I said, okay. And I left. BT Williams goes in. When's he going to start? He wants $3,000 a month. That's ridiculous. I've never paid anybody. He's worth it. Pay him. Mike Crosley calls you back up. I'll give you 6 months at $3,000 a month, and if you can't build a business, get your licenses, you're out of here. I said, well, I got nothing else to do. We'll try it. So I came in, took all my licenses, passed all my exams, and started cold calling, right? And I was a miserable cold caller. They told me so, right? You're the worst cold caller I've ever seen. So, I found another way to make a living in this business. But if it wasn't for BT Williams, I wouldn't be standing here today. So I'm telling you right now, talk to people that you know. Find out what it is they think you should be doing best and follow that journey. Because your friends and your people that know you better than you know yourself. It was life-changing for me. The end of this story is I went to work for Merrill Lynch, and BT Williams had the corner office, and he had a personal secretary, and I was sitting in a cubicle in the middle of the floor, right? I came in on a Monday morning, and Mike Crosley called me in, and he said, Jay, we fired BT Williams yesterday. And I said, why? And this was 40 years ago, and BT Williams was 60, so he'd be 100 years old today. So he's passed away, so I can tell this story. So he said, we came in Saturday night, and the light was on in the mailroom, so I went to turn it off, and BT Williams was on the floor with the mailroom boy. And back then, it was a crime, and you could let him go. Today, if you did that, they'd sue you, right? But back then, they let him go. And they said, the corner office is yours, the secretary is yours, and you're going to take over his book. He really believes in you. And I said, Mike, that's a very sophisticated book, and I've never traded a stock yet. How can I manage those people's accounts when I don't even know what I'm doing? Give it to a mature financial guy that deserves it. I'll either sink or swim on my own. He said, are you sure? I said, on my own, right? I said, I'll take all the help I can to grow my business, but I'm not taking over somebody else's that I don't know what I'm doing. I'll be out of here. I'll make mistakes, I'll cause complaints, and I'll be out of here. I've got to grow on my own. He said, okay. And somebody else took it, and I grew a business on my own. But I did it the way I'm telling you to grow your life, right? To change your life, to take those life skills that I took to be an ambassador, to get people that want to refer you, people that want to help you, people that want to be connected to you. All these skill sets are things that I learned. And to this extent, I want every one of you to link up with me on LinkedIn. Every one of you, right? J. Arbetter, A-R-B-E-T-T-E-R. If I can help you at all, send me a personal message on LinkedIn that you need help on anything. I help people all day, every day. Somebody help me or I'd be finished, right? A lot of people came along to change my life. And it's my job to carry that forward to other people, and I do it every day. So I've got the free time. I've got a team of 16 people. I've got 8 full-time support staff. I have everybody doing everything for me because I'm lazy and I don't want to work. So I've got time to do this. If you're a member of any organization or churches or anything that I can speak at to help people become more successful in life, either growing their businesses or getting back in the workforce, that's what I'm here for. Okay? And to that extent, how much more time? 5? Really? Okay. You can get more time here. So let's talk a little bit about, and it's also in my book, about professional meetings. All right, this is really important because when you sit down with someone, you always want it to be professional. You always want it to be above board, and you don't want to be in a position of compromise, right? So when you're networking with someone and they say, "Why don't we meet at 5:30 for cocktails?" You know, it's really more of a social event at that time, and it puts you in an awkward position because you want it to be professional and they're trying to make it something else, right? You don't want to ever meet anyone on the opposite sex. The same sex is no problem. On the opposite sex in a social networking environment, one-on-one, where there's cocktails and there's drinks. For lunch, it's fine. For coffee, it's fine, but not in a bar environment, ever, right? You don't know what they have in mind, and it should never get to that level. It can deteriorate quickly to something you don't want, right? So it's really critical you dress professionally, right? The message is, I'm a professional. I'll meet you for lunch. I'll meet you for a coffee, right? I'll meet you at we can get a private room at a library and talk. You know, if I can come to your office, whatever it is, I'm available. But unfortunately, you know, I just can't, you know, if they insist on meeting at a bar, they're the wrong person. Okay? It's really important that you don't send out the wrong signals and that you don't let them corner you into the wrong signals. And it sounds sublime and it sounds innocent, but you just don't want to be in that position. This is really critical. If it's the same sex, it doesn't matter. If it's the opposite sex, it could be a really bad situation quickly that you don't want to, you have to get out of, and you won't know how, right? So it's really important. And I remember when I was young, and I watched a professional golfer sink a 70-foot putt. And I told my dad, that's the luckiest putt I ever saw. And my dad said he prepared himself to have the luckiest putt you ever saw by spending his whole life putting, right? And he may never do it again, but to win that tournament, he needed to putt that 70-foot putt, and he won the tournament because he was prepared for that successful moment. We're watching the Olympics, right? There's a hairline of a quarter of a second between who wins the gold medal, who wins the silver medal. Somebody was prepared for that deal a little bit more than the other and got there. Prepare yourself to be the most successful you could ever be by doing what it is we've talked about. And then all of a sudden you find out you got lucky, right? Prepare yourself to be lucky. And you'll say, oh my God, if it wasn't, I can't believe I met that person at the grocery store and got to know them, and they're the one person, you know, that got me into the job. How lucky could I be, right? You just don't know. As I told you, you don't know who somebody knows. In your section on your spreadsheet, the last section is everybody you ever worked with. It's important that you connect back with them. And I don't care if they live in D.C. now, or they live in Oregon, or they live in Arizona. If you work with them, find them, right? Because you don't know if their brother or their son-in-law or their uncle is the CEO of a company in Dallas. And what do they know about you? They know your work ethics. Nobody else does. They worked with you. They know how good you are, right? They can refer you in so easily because they have that experience that nobody else has on your list. The primary directive for networking is to always go back to managers, go back to people you worked with. Now, if you hated them in the workplace, it won't do any good, right? You got to have somebody that liked you, but call them back, find them. You can find them on LinkedIn, you can find them on Facebook, you can find somebody that knows them. Go back and find them. Look for all those names that you ever worked with, write them all down, and search them out. And let them know, hey, I'm available. If you know anyone in the Dallas area, I'd love to talk to them, you know, because I'm available and I can help them. And you don't know who they know. And just because they're not here anymore doesn't mean they don't know a lot of people. We live in 6 degrees of separation, and it's crazy how close it can get sometimes. So on your last section of your work deal, write down everyone that you ever worked with and go find them. especially if you liked working with them. And it may be they're at a company right now that's looking for someone you can work with them again, and they can get you right in. But if you never looked for them, they wouldn't even know you're looking. Right? You can't catch a fish if your hook ain't in the water. So let people know that you're looking, and then you have a better opportunity. Prepare yourself for success, and you'll get lucky. And I'd rather be lucky than smart all day long. Okay? To close this off, I'll tell you a story about two guys that are cutting down trees. And the first guy cuts down the tree with his axe, cuts down the second tree with his axe, and sees the guy next to him and says, Fred, why don't you go sharpen your axe? You haven't cut down one tree yet. And Fred says, I'm too busy cutting down this tree to go sharpen my axe. Right? How many people keep doing the same thing the hard way and don't get any results, and they never go figure out the easy way? My job is to sharpen your axe. And you guys have taken out time from your day away from cutting down these trees to find a way to sharpen your axe and make it a little easier on yourselves, a little bit more fun, a little faster, to get a better job than you ever could get on your other deal. And you've taken the time to listen to me. And if I've given you one idea to help sharpen your axe, to make your life a little more fun, a little easier, then I will have accomplished my mission that I owe back for all the people that are helping me sharpen my axe. So if I've done that, then I've accomplished my mission. And I appreciate your time. I thank you very much. And I wish you all the best. And please stay in touch with me. And if you get a job with anything I've said, please drop me an email on my LinkedIn, because I get those all the time and I love them. Thank you so much for your time.
Jay, thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for Jay?
I didn't get a standing ovation. You know, I was at a concert. I was at a concert. Thank you. I was at a concert, and it was so funny because they talked about the fact that they're from New York, and they said, you know, there's one other big group from New York named Simon and Garfunkel. And between the two of us, we sold 100 million records. and then at the end, he said, we're going to sing, and I want everybody to kind of stand up and sing with me. And he said, that way I get a standing ovation. So that their humor was better than their music, so I enjoyed that.
Any questions for Jay?
Yeah, please. Anybody online have any?
Anybody online? Open your mic and ask away.
Yeah, any questions anywhere? What? No. My brother, it's so funny. My sister has a master's in music and teaches piano. My dad was a advocate opera singer. My brother has 7 international singing awards. I can't play the radio. I mean, I can't. And my brother says to me, you know, Jay, will you please sing Over the Hills and Far Away? So I can't sing. I have no musical talent at all, and I live in a family that just like music is like in their fingers. So what happened to me, I have no idea. Go ahead.
Just a comment. Short story. So I help a accountability group get started where we're each helping each other find a job. And I got an email from one guy, and he gave me 5 companies that he was interested in. So I spent about 4 hours going on LinkedIn, seeing first degree, second degree, copied and paste things, information, how I knew him, how I met him, where I met him, all that sort of thing, and sent it to him. And I got an email back that said, thank you.
Yeah. So I have to tell you another story, right? I've got a young man that lives I have a vacation homes in Wyoming, and it's in a small town. And the parents of one of the kids who just graduated Georgetown in DC was looking for a job, couldn't find one because everybody's being laid off in DC. There's no jobs. And she said, Jay, you're like connected to everybody. I know you must know somebody in DC that can help him. And I'm also speak at the South Lake Focus Group on a regular basis, and one of my partners is on the board. So I told the young man they have a Thursday morning deal, get on virtually, listen to their whole program, and get a mentor to help you find a job in DC, and I'll help you all I can. So the mentor, who's been listening to all my presentations, said to Tristan, what have you done to contact everybody you know in DC? Because Jay says, leave no stone unturned, right? And he said, well, I've contacted everybody I know. And then he said to him, what about your professors in school? Have you talked to them? And he said, well, they just teach. They don't know anybody. And he said, did you listen to anything Jay said? You don't know who people know. Let your professors know you haven't gotten a job yet, because they all assume when you graduate Georgetown, you've got a job. They don't even know you're looking. True story. He contacted his professor of his master's program, and the professor said, Tristan, you never told me you didn't have a job. I'm a consultant for a firm in DC, and we're looking for someone exactly like you, but I never would have thought you were available. I would have called you a long time ago. Call this guy and go get to work. And within an hour, he had an interview, and the next day he had a job. And the parents brought me a beautiful Winchester rifle for getting their son a job. So you never know, right? And that just happened like 4 months ago. So don't leave any stone unturned. Absolutely not.
And what I'm trying to impress or give people an idea.
Talk louder.
What I'm trying to include in that story is maybe another column that says, let people know how they helped you.
Yeah.
So you go give them feedback, say, here's what your help did for me. Whether it works out.
I'm so glad you said that.
Or does something that says,
right.
Hey.
I'm so glad you said that, because it's so important that people don't feel used, right? People want to be appreciated. So what Walt is saying is right. When you finish a conversation with someone, you've had a cup of coffee, whatever, you get back to them and thank them for their time, either by an email, a personal note, a phone call, but you always go back to them. And when you get that job, right, everybody you sat down with, you let them know you're now employed and I can't thank you for your time, right? People want to know that you got a job, so they're not trying to help you still. They want to know that you got a job and they did, they put an effort into it, and they really appreciate the fact that you let them know. And that builds a long-term relationship. When you are working for a company and you want to move up, sometimes you have to move out to move up, right? And you don't want to put a resume online because immediately your employer will know you're looking. So it's your network that works that for you, right? And if you haven't thanked them before, they're not going to be as eager to help you find the next level up if they can help you. But if you thank them, you send them a note, you send them a comment, and you follow up with them, then the next time you need them, they'll be more than happy to do it. And I promise you, you're going to get some phone calls from people that helped you or that you listened to that say, by the way, I need some help. Who do you know? Right? And it may be they need a pediatrician. It may be they need a doctor. It may need they need a gardener. They just want to know who you know that can refer them. Build this referral network for your lifelong experiences for everything you need, not just for a job. Build this network of referral bases back and forth so everybody helps everybody. Go ahead.
Tell everyone you know. Just a comment. It's true that tell everyone you know, and even the people you don't really think about. Like all my doctors know that I'm looking for a job.
Smart.
When I go into the office, because guess what? I'll need insurance, and I might have to make another But anyway, even and I belong to a lot of professional organizations.
Smart.
And even some social things like community band. The people in the community band know I'm looking. But yeah, even when you say tell everyone you know, even the people you don't kind of think of that you need
What's
to
your name?
tell, John. Hey,
John, what I want you to do to make it a little more, you're doing everything right, but what I want you to do is come up with 5 companies you want to work for and let everybody know those companies. All right?
Okay. Yeah,
You'll
thanks.
have a much better level of success than just say, I'm looking for a job.
Right.
Right? You're doing all the right things. Just make sure you write down companies, do your research, say, these are the companies I can really add value to, and I'm ready. What is your name? Mm-hmm. Jennifer. Okay. And Jennifer, what do you do? Say that one more time.
Instructional, okay, sorry. I'm an instructional designer or training manager.
Training manager, okay. For a specific industry?
No, I've worked in lots of different industries
Really? Okay.
and I've done lots of different training,
Okay.
sales, leadership, software, anything.
All right. You have wide open capabilities, so you just need to find the place you want to work. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody else anything I can help you with? How many of y'all are going to lunch? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I was thinking about it, but I don't think I will today.
All right. Well, Jay, thank you very, very much.
Wait, go ahead. Please. What's your name? Ellie? Okay, Ellie.
I've been working doing documentation control for almost 11 years. I've been so desperately trying to get out of that. I have a bachelor's in business management.
Okay.
And I didn't really want to get into that, but when I went into the college to try to see what I needed to do, for some reason he told me I was a people person.
Huh.
Never really knew what that really was. I don't really. I mean, I get now what he saw in me, but he decided that that's what I needed to go into, and he stated that I could probably get into any type of work. Have never been able to really use my degree into anything other than stay in the industry of documentation. I've been trying to get out of that because most of the jobs that I get are contract, and contracts they end, and it leaves me unemployed, and a lot of times for over 6 months, and it's really, really rough.
It sure is.
And so I have worked on my resume numerous times. I keep my resume kind of long because I want to hopefully, some of
Do
those
you have a
skills.
professional person helping you with your resume?
Not really.
All right, so I want you to go to South Lake Focus Group or this. Do you have people here, Jeff? South Lake Focus
here
Group
for
has
that reason.
professional resume writers that will help you for free. They'll interview you, they'll get to know you, they'll help you build your resume and target it the way you want. And they're in South Lake, but they're a huge organization with tremendous backup talent. I speak to them regularly. My partner's on their board, and they do wonderful things over there. It's a big church, and they've got tremendous volunteers. So I would definitely approach South Lake Focus Group. They meet every Thursday. I start at 8 in the morning. They go till noon. They have breakout sessions, and they have people that will work with you and help you and mentor you. And I would definitely get involved with them and tell them you need help with your resume, and they'll attach someone to you that can help you build your resume professionally. Okay. I also serve on the Jewish Family Service committees here in town, and they have professional resume writers here as well that do it for free. So you need to connect up with different organizations and get more support, and you'll be much more successful. There's there's many churches in town that offer support groups like this, and I speak at a lot of them. And Jewish Family Service is one of them, and they're great, and they have like 6 or 7 professional career placement officers. So not only do they help you with your resume, but they help you get a job, and they have placement officers that are connected all over the city. And I was on their board for many years. So definitely go to Jewish Family Service and South Lake Focus Group and get in the mix to get what you want.
All right. Well, Jay, our time's up. So thank you very much for being here today. I want to mention for next week, our speaker is going to be Lisa Schwartz. She's going to talk about finding greener pastures beyond job loss and career change. So as I've talked about before, losing a job is like losing a loved one. You've got to get through the 5 stages of grief before you're really ready to go interview. And that's what she's going to talk about next week. You'll be able to find this presentation up on the Career USA YouTube channel. It'll be up tomorrow afternoon. Click on playlist. Every video I post goes into one of 7 different playlists. And down in the lower left-hand corner, it says View Full Playlist. Click there, and up will come a list of all the speakers that have talked to this group. And you can go back and watch any of them that you want. Just know that most of the speakers start about 30 minutes into the presentation. Next Tuesday for LinkedIn Tuesday, Ruth Lipsky will be with us to talk about LinkedIn tools for job seekers. On Wednesday, the PIT crew is meeting in person right here in this room, the first, second, third, and fifth Wednesday of the month. On the fourth Wednesday, they'll be online, which will be at a week from Wednesday. And next Friday, I already mentioned Lisa Schwartz will be with us to talk about finding green and pastures. On the 27th, Paula Calise will be with us to talk about the art of low. And then on the first Friday in March, we'll do open forum as we do every month. I think we took a survey today for lunch of like 4 or 5 people. So whoever gets there get a table for like 6, and we should be good to go then. Happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. Hopefully nobody's forgotten. And if you have, you've been reminded, duly reminded. And thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see everybody next week.
And everybody that's listening on LinkedIn and everybody here, if y'all are members of any organizations, any groups, any churches, any sport groups, that you feel that my mission and my message would be valuable, please let them know, have them contact me and set me up for speaking because I have the time. And it's a passion for me. So thank y'all very much.